Hello everybody and welcome to Goodnight Productions. My name is Ethan Carpenter and I have a budget USB microphone review for you guys today. Shadefrost was kind enough to let me borrow this budget Tonor TC-777 that he bought off of Amazon. If you're interested in this microphone, it is going to run you about $44 at the moment. I remember him buying it a lot cheaper, but it was nice of him to let me borrow this. Right now, my gain setting is about 50% running on Windows, and I may have to boost it in post. I won't do any post-processing. I'll let you know down in the lower third. But let's see what comes in the box. I scared my cat. Hey, Bandrew. In the box, you're going to get the microphone with attached USB cable, a desk mount, its own shock mount, a windscreen, and a pop filter. As far as build quality goes for this microphone, it's pretty cheap feeling. It's made out of mostly plastic, but the mesh grill is actually fairly nice with very little give. The included pop filter is nice as well. It does its job. And its shock mount, while flimsy, it's nice. It's nice of them to include one. I am a little bit bummed out that the USB cable is attached, like hardwired, so you can't replace it if it gets damaged, but I'm pretty sure Shade bought this mic for about $20. This microphone is a cardioid polar pattern. The box itself says it goes to 44.1 16-bit, but on my settings it actually goes to 48, a little bit of a difference between what is available on the computer and what is on the box. It has a frequency response of 100 Hz to 16 kHz, a sensitivity of -38 decibels, an output impedance of 680 ohms, a max SPL of 110 decibels, and a signal noise ratio of 56 dB. I'm now holding the Tonor to determine the actual polar pattern of this thing. I'm speaking directly into the front of the microphone. Now we are going to be turning it 90 degrees to see what it sounds like from the side, rather. Turning it to the 180 degree mark to see how it sounds from the back and how it handles noise rejection. To the second 90 degree angle, how it sounds from the other side. And finally, back in front. Now I want to see how well it actually gets rid of background noise, so here I am banging on my keyboard into the Windows search bar. Now let's see how this guy actually handles plosive rejection and how the included pop filter works. Peter paid Polly, Peter paid Polly, Peter paid Polly. Let's see how the included shock mount actually handles shock absorption. So we're going to hit my boom arm here to see what kind of sound rejection we get. I'm about 1 inch away from the microphone, talking fairly quietly to see what kind of proximity effect I can get out of this thing. And now I'm backed off to about a normal speaking width away from the mic. Now let's see what kind of noise is actually generated from the mic itself. I'm just going to be adjusting the gain accordingly. %. 50%, 75%, and 100%. Now, I enlisted my buddy Dakota from the band Indomitable to help me test this guy out on some actual music gear. So he's going to be miking up his guitar cabinet as well as playing some acoustic material to see how this guy sounds.
Tonor, 3 inches. Tonor, 6 foot.
Test this microphone, I'll test this Tonor mic. I'm bad at writing songs, but I'll do my best, yeah. Now let's see how the provided windscreen affects the tone of the mic. I'm speaking normally to the Tonor TC-777 to give you guys an idea of what it sounds like without the windscreen. I'm now speaking the same distance away, testing the TC-777, sorry, to see how it sounds without the with the windscreen, and again testing to see how it sounds without it. Dakota, what do you think about this mic?
Hello, my name's Dakota. It's definitely got cons. It's got a couple pros. So, let's start with the pros, right? We'll start with the acoustic recordings. I actually thought it sounded pretty good from, 3 feet away, 6 feet away. So you could get away with recording an acoustic or using it even as a room mic for an acoustic or maybe a vocal session. When it got up close, it just was a little too bassy, but then again, that's acoustics for you. But it was just like too much for the Tonor, you know what I mean? Like the lows really boomed over everything else when you got way too close to this microphone. So as an acoustic mic, I think it's not a bad idea. As an electric mic, don't do it. As you can hear from my recording up close, it could not handle it at all. I had my 5150 set to maybe 20% volume, maybe, and it could not handle it from 3 inches away from the speakers. It sounded awful. From far away as a room mic, it didn't do that well either. I had it 6 feet away from the amp and it still had a few problems. I'm sure if you had a really big room, it wouldn't be a problem. Maybe a 12, maybe a 16 foot room, having it way over there and not really in the corner where it captures all that bass, it would be a okay microphone as a room mic for an electric.
Thank you, Dakota, for your thoughts about the TC-777 by Tonor, and I do tend to agree. On acoustic, I think the mic actually sounds fairly decent, and while Dakota thought that it sounded better far away, which I think I agree with, I thought it sounded perfectly usable at the he had it at the 6-inch mark for the acoustic guitar. And of course, I'm not doing any post-processing on any of these tracks, so you could clean that up a little bit, and I think this guy would be perfectly usable for some demo recordings on an acoustic guitar. I thought the tone was fairly pretty and bright. It actually brought out some nice qualities about the guitar. I think it did fairly decently on acoustic. That being said, I completely agree with Dakota. Don't use it as a close mic for an electric guitar cabinet at all. Don't do it. Keep it away. However, the room mic did sound a little bit better, and if you blend it with a SM57, something like that, really scoop out those harsh highs, I feel like it could be a really good filler mic, especially with what Dakota was playing. It kind of had a slammy feel to it. It kind of had that really gritty tone you kind of hear in grindcore and slam. I think this would actually kind of do decently for that. I wouldn't use it as the main microphone at all. And considering it has a little bit of an issue handling sound pressure, I didn't want to test it with metal vocals. But for my actual singing vocals over the acoustic guitar, I actually thought it sounded okay. It's a little bit muffled in my opinion, but that could be my own voice as well. With a little bit of processing, you could probably get it to work, and I think it would be decent, but it definitely would not be my go-to for vocals. As for voiceover, I don't really think it's that usable either. Now, for the use of just having a microphone to use for YouTube videos and things like that, kind of like how Shadefrost bought this for, to use it on Discord and streaming, I think it's serviceable. It's not the worst mic I've ever heard in my life, but it certainly isn't the best. You can definitely do a little bit better, especially with what it's selling for now at about $44. You could just spend a little bit more and get a used Blue Yeti for under $100 if you're really wanting to go for a USB mic. The mic does come with some nice add-ons, the pop filter specifically. It does its job. It's always nice to have a pop filter. I'm not a big proponent of using condenser microphones for streaming purposes because it doesn't really reject background noise all that well, and you could hear that when I was typing on my keyboard. I usually recommend going for a dynamic microphone in that case, but for everything else, it's usable. Real quick, I just want to let you guys know this is a front address microphone. You probably got that with how I was speaking into it. Don't speak into the top. It's not going to sound right. But real quick, I wanted to show you guys how this guy sounds with the provided desktop stand instead of, say, my boom arm. So this is how a lot of people may be using this mic a little bit further away from the sound source, and you can immediately hear that I'm a lot quieter. So let's go ahead and bump up my sound a little bit. I went ahead and bumped up my audio to 75% for this test. This is how a lot of people are going to be using this mic. I highly recommend getting a boom arm because you can really bring your gain down to reject some background noise, but also to do my typing test again, you're going to be fighting with your keyboard. Get a boom arm. Don't record things like this. So would I recommend the Tonor? I think you could do better for the money, and I think even when it comes to cheaper USB microphones, I think you could do a lot better. I'm also a proponent of XLR mics at this point. You can pick up one of those cheap condenser microphones. I believe mine is the Floron BM800. Newer makes them as well. You can pick up one of those and a Behringer interface for about $100 or so, and it will, or sub $100, and it will sound better than what you're going to get with this microphone. Thank you guys for tuning in to Goodnight Productions to hear Dakota and I's thoughts about the Tonor TC-777. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a big old thumbs down. I'm completely fine with it either way. If you have something you want me to review, please let me know. I already have another microphone that I'm going to be working on putting up next week, hopefully.